Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Charb, Armageddon versus Gradius and me here on Lost Temple. I am spawning as the purple Protoss player. We have Gradius spawning as the teal Terran player. Our opponents are going to be Armageddon spawning as the blue Terran player. And then finally, to round off the fourth, we have Charb spawning as the red Zerg. So Terran Protoss versus Zerg Terran. We'll see how this game gets underway. Taking a look throughout the game, I just played this game with Gradius. It was a pretty fun map, or a fun matchup. A lot of the times when you play 2v2s, you really don't know what your partner is really going for, especially in StarCraft. In Warcraft 3, where I originally came from and tried to play that a little bit to a higher level than StarCraft, it's generally easier because there's not as much stuff going on around the map. Macroing is much easier, or trying to macro. There isn't as much to macro, so their base doesn't draw as much attention as the fights actually do. And then because of the scrolls of town portals and whatnot, you really have to play with your partner. StarCraft 2 is definitely not like that. There are no scrolls of town portal. There are no ways to move around the map really easily unless you consider Mothership with recall, but that is in and of itself a very, very late game, late tech build. Taking a look at this, Gradius getting that barracks on that front door. I'm getting this gateway as well, so gateway being built up, and now trying to just build up as much as I can in terms of my army. Taking a look at the spawning pool already going down, so that was a very early spawning pool. I think that was a 10 pool based upon how much food there is and the timing of that. So he's going to get a lot of Zerglings very early, and Charb may be able to just rush into my base very easily. Charb now taking a look at him sitting on what, 15 drones? It couldn't be 15 drones. How is he at 15 drones when he has 14? That doesn't seem right. Taking a look at that, Charb now, yeah, sitting on 14. My math was off, or I was including that hatchery or some other building. Anyways, coming back over here, gateway now being warped in, figuring out the strategies. One of the things that Gradius told me that he wanted to do is he wanted to try to rush the Hellions in order to do some harassment. So I'm expecting a little bit of a Hellion harass from my partner. Also, I'm going to be trying to get some early units in order to be able to push back on maps like Lost Temple and Desert Oasis and Blistering Sands. Reapers are fairly strong, but taking a look at Armageddon's base, Armageddon is not lifting up this barracks. He's not trying to get an additional tech lab, and he does not have his orbital command yet, so that's definitely going to be delayed. Gradius already has his orbital command, and now Gradius talking to me. I'm shoutcasting our game, and just coming back over here, barracks now being built, and what this barracks should be done in momentarily. We already have a large number of Zerglings, so 8 Zerglings already in the middle of the game. So that is already something for me to get concerned about. I am in fact getting some zealots, and I'm worried that those Zerglings are going to be able to run into my base and just wreak havoc with the whole entire base. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get 2 zealots and also bring over a single probe. What that probe will allow me to do is that probe will, here, let me turn off the overlay. The probe acts as like an additional attack for those zealots. So 2 zealot attacks plus a probe attack will kill a Zergling very, very quickly. So coming into here, we already have those 2 zealots trying to fight back here. Probe trying to get in a couple of those hits, able to do a little bit of zapping. So my zealots are doing a fair job trying to fight back. Yeah, doing a fair job. Okay, you're going to see this later when I make a very, very large mistake. Anyways, coming back into the game, I'm now getting a single sentry trying to fight back. I have a single zealot and a single probe, getting an additional sentry. And I'm also trying to increase the speed of my warp gate production. I'm worried about these Zerglings because there's already a large number of Zerglings trying to come into my base. And I know the Terran, Gradius will not be able to help me out that much. A single zealot now out there trying to fend off this attack, trying to fight back against those Zerglings. And now I have some sentries. Going to quickly drop down a force field. So all I have to really deal with is those 4 Zerglings that are currently in the base. And those rest of those Zerglings just unable to really push back in. So I have, what, 1 sentry, 2 sentries trying to do a little bit of a fight here. Going to go, once again, drop in another force field. So I'm able to focus down and fight back against those Zerglings. Marines now coming in from Gradius. Gradius will be able to help me out. But 2 well-placed force fields enabling me to push back this attack. So now Overlord in my base, going to go ahead and focus it down with my 2 sentries. My sentries dealing a fair amount of damage towards that one Overlord, and down goes that Overlord. I tried to let my partner know that I think there's Zerglings over here, but I don't think Gradius actually sees them. So I'm going to move out when I have a much larger army. My gateway, my warp gate production has just been completed, so I'll be able to warp, summon some units, get some units, and then go ahead and upgrade the warp gates, and then be able to warp in more units as well. Taking a look over here, we have Hellions and Marines trying to move out. Terran player Armageddon sitting pretty comfortably in his base, doesn't really want to head out. Not too many workers in that particular aspect. Taking a look at I'm fully saturated on my mineral lines. Also getting a robotics facility and that forge in order to get that upgrade. Hellions now coming in. Hellions trying to take down that hatchery. He should have considered coming up that ramp. Hellions now getting attacked back but they're able to just torch those Zerglings so easily. A little bit of micro goes a long way against those Zerglings as this Overlord once again get focused down. Taking a look over here, I now have, 4 sentries now moving in. I want to use these sentries to press this attack to the best of my ability. The hatchery now getting focused down. Hatchery down to 173, 38 getting taken down, and now these sentries are going to try to pull back out. I realize that there's units coming in from the backside. I'm trying to get up that ramp, but I'm unable to. I'm going to go ahead and drop a force field so that those units are unable to walk back up, as I don't know, Gradius should really be trying to focus down these units over here, trying to focus down those other additional units. I'm going to go ahead and get another force field down in just a second, trying to make it so that those Marines and those Marauders are unable to really continue to push, but Gradius focusing, instead of focusing down or moving up the ramp to try to focus on those Roaches and those Zerglings, stays too close to the backhand side and gets taken down by Armageddon's Marines and Marauders. So Marines and Marauders once again trying to reposition themselves. Over here I have I'm now going off of 5 gateways and now trying to get some additional pylon power around the map. I want to be able to warp in units here and here as well. So I really have no decent place to warp in units if I want to quickly deploy them. So I'm going to be warping in those units, have a robotics facility, and I'm thinking about what I really want to tech to. And at this stage, I'm thinking, you know what, Colossus look good. So I'm going to try to build some Colossus. Armageddon currently running off of double racks, single factory, and now getting double starport. So it looks like he wants to go for a drop tech, most likely, or very, very common at this stage. Also, we have a couple a single missile turret in the back trying to prevent any Banshee harassment. Taking a look back in Gradius' base, Gradius now has a couple Marauders, a couple Hellions, has been doing a lot of those Tech Lab reactor switches, and now getting that engineering bay as well. I'm moving out with a couple Zealots and a couple Stalkers. I want to try to mass up as much gas as I can, as I know that those Colossus are going to be fairly expensive. They take, 75 time to build, but I'm going to be using Chrono Boost, so I'm worried about how much gas it's going to take in order to really build that. Should really get some additional pylons over here so that these 4 key buildings are not all connected off of one pylon. Taking a look back over here, we have an expansion now being built by myself. Also, we have another expansion by Charb. Charb trying to get that hatchery up. I do have an observer sitting overhead, so I'm able to keep track of what's going on. Sitting on with a very sizable army in the middle of the map with that Xel'Naga watchtower. Lost Temple really plays well for a 2v2 map with those positioning of those Xel'Naga watchtowers. Coming back over here, we have orbital command being dropped down, more mules being called. Starport trying to produce double medevacs, and then also trying to be able to create some Ravens as well if they need to. Those medevacs are going to be a good boost to this Marine and Marauder army. Taking a look, also getting that shield upgrade. So that shield upgrade going to increase the life of those Marines from 45 to 55 hit points. Going to move out with this fairly sizable army. It's more of a keep honest force, where I want to make sure that our opponents are not just doing so much tech and then gonna mass out later that it's really gonna change the whole entire course of the game. Overlord getting focused down. I do in fact have that level 1 upgrade on those weapons, so they are going to be able to deal more damage towards those Roaches and towards those Zerglings. In comes this fight, and what I want to do is I want to put a force field in the middle of that fight so that those Roaches are really unable to engage. So this is, even though he has more units than I do and really should be able to focus me down, since I'm doing those force fields, those Roaches are really unable to push back and really get into that fight. Drones now coming in as well, just dealing a lot of damage towards his army. I do in fact have the smaller army as another force field coming into play. I want to try to take down these Zerglings and now try to take down this hatchery. If I can take down the hatchery, I know that it's going to be a fairly decent force, but I decide, wait a second, those Roaches are probably going to be a bigger harassment later. So I just try to start focusing down these Roaches. Roaches getting focused down, and Sentry trying to come back in, trying to do a little bit more of a fight. I don't know why I start focusing on that Queen. as that queen is not going to be that key of a unit. Down goes that queen, now trying to fight back against these roaches, but down goes that last unit there. I could have easily taken down this hatchery. Don't know why I decided to stop. But coming back into my base, I already have two colossi, and now 5 stalkers moving out. Taking a look, also not getting that level 2 weapons upgrade again, and stay tuned for part 2 of this replay between Crota, Gradius, Armageddon, and Charb here on Lost Temple.